The information and opinions presented in this podcast are based on research done at a particular point in time. The fields of medicine, surgery, psychology, etc. are constantly evolving as new studies and movements happen. Please take into account the year of any particular episode's publication, and as new information presents itself, we will do our best to release updated episodes on the topics. Listener discretion is advised for references to medical terminology of body parts. Unless otherwise stated, no one speaking on this podcast is a medical or legal professional and cannot provide medical or legal advice. Welcome to the Trans Field Guide. To kind of bounce off of the chosen family statement, I remember when we were getting ready for that prom performance thing, and Kitana, you and Chris were helping me learn, okay, this is how you walk like a guy, this is how you walk like a girl, like those things that you learn and you pick up from your family when you're growing up. It becomes that like found family thing of learning these things much later on in life as you're coming into your own.
Yeah, and then to kind of expand on that a little bit, it took a while for all of us to learn. It's one of the great things that I love about you doing this podcast, is because when I was learning how to act and things being appropriate, and Kitana was too, and we were kind of learning together, and we were able to pass that on to you and to kind of say, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what you can expect from this situation. This is what you can expect from this situation when you start. And for me, transitioning really opened up a lot of opportunities for me that I didn't have otherwise. And I know Kitana had a similar experience. We both kind of sat down and were like, things are so much more available to me as my true self than they were prior to.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know about y'all, but I've noticed like a shift within the drag entertainment world too, because now there are so many ways to identify that we're embracing those identities even on stage, and happy to see that progression too. You know what I mean? Like non-binary individuals are coming forward and wanting to perform, and in fact we had this question posted the other day within our support group, and it kind of like knocked me off my socks. I pretty much put it out there. I said, for non-binary individuals, like how do you identify, how do you see yourselves, what's the definition, etc. And we were talking about Coronation coming up, which is the nonprofit organization, and we talked about how they have an emperor and empress, and this person who identifies as non-binary was like, well, what title do you have for somebody who identifies as non-binary if they want to run? And that left me totally stumped. I was like, you know what, that's a question I'm gonna have to like bring to the board, because I'm not really a part of Tier E. I'm not on that board, but I can definitely find out and see what they can come up with. And I think for that person, it was like gratifying and being like validated and being like, okay, so there is progression happening. My identity is being recognized. And also too, it's interesting to see within the drag performing world, especially living in Texas. I've always heard Texas drag is totally different, especially when it comes to like the glamour. People in other states, when you travel, know when you're from Texas. It's just the makeup. It's the way you do your hair. It's just the way you are on stage. It's great to see different types of performances coming forth too, like alternative queens. Gotten to befriend some alternative queens that don't do the glamour. They do a lot of twisted, dark stuff you really wouldn't see like in the past on stage, that the audience would probably boo off stage, or the director would just be like, you know what are you doing? This doesn't belong here. But now they're up and coming, and I'm really happy for that, because at the end of the day, it's art, and it's art on stage, and I always embrace those individuals too, because I'm like, you're an artist, you're doing what you do. I may not like be able to do that, or it's not my craft, but I enjoy watching it, and I'm going to embrace you and applaud you and continue to support you. So I think drag is slowly evolving. And also, like I said, just with the playing with gender, you have bearded queens now too. You have just a whole array of different identities that are coming forth on stage. And I think it's great.
Kitana, have you noticed the audience acting different, receiving the alternative queens better and receiving the different performances better? Because I remember when we did the prom performance in, the first performance I did before you and Vienna did your interaction one, and then when Vienna and I did our interaction, the audience wasn't ready for it.
The
Yeah,
audience
no.
was not ready for me.
No, they
Yeah,
were
no.
not. But you know what it was.
Definitely, I've noticed a huge change. Actually, currently in Corpus, one of our current reigning queen, Miss Sweetheart, is Frankie Stein. And they are, well, they're a queen and they see themselves kind of like in an alternative way, only because they do like their makeup different. They kind of embrace the darker side of the show aspect. By her winning, it shows that there's progression happening for the entertainment world. And I've seen some other alternative queens in Corpus that are trying to get themselves out there, and they're doing it. It's a slow progression because a lot of the older generations have this mindset of like, okay, in order to be a performer, you must do, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. But it's like, you know what? No, I don't think there really is a set way to like put yourself out there. If you feel like you want to be on that stage and you want to entertain an audience in a certain way, if you have that charisma, you're going to capture the audience. And I think that's what like Frankie Stein did. Though for their talent performance, they did Joan Crawford. They did the whole speech and the whole Pepsi bottle, all that stuff. They still did a form that I think they understood that, okay, the judges are going to get it, but I'm going to do it my way. And she did do it her way. She came out in a turban, no wig, no eyebrows, but still did her makeup very, very pretty, but had a big cape, still kind of had the essence of old school drag, a cape, props and whatnot. Through attitude was the character on stage. And I think for that person, for Frankie Stein, she has a theater background. So she knows how to work the audience.
Katana, you mentioned drag brunch. I actually went to drag brunch for my first time today. Me and my girlfriend went, and it was amazing. It felt very, I guess, mainstream. I mean, where else in San Antonio are you going to go to a rooftop in a very high-end looking club, and it's open like that, and it's not Luther's, and it's something else that's entirely its own thing. It was really great seeing how the audience responded. And I definitely understand what you mean when it comes to family, when it comes to drag, except for me, since I haven't had the consistency that you've had, Katana, with the drag world. For me, it's more like people would call it like a gay family, but it's not necessarily gay. It's kind of like a trans and gay and LGBTQ family. I have some friends who I've connected with. A lot of them are Black or Latino. And I actually have a lot of Black friends in particular, some trans women and gay men friends and so forth, who I've known for the last 7 or so years. And it was actually one of them, Natalie. She works with San Antonio AIDS Foundation now. She encouraged me to kind of get back into drag in a different way by joining the Plastic Collective, which I'm now part of the Plastic Factory. And we've been through a lot of things together. We've experienced a lot of things together. And I'm just so grateful because it helps keep you centered when you're going through issues with your own family and your own life, when you have people you can relate to. I want to extend how well I know other people as well. A lot of people who are out at the clubs, North Main Street, I see them when they're at the club and I don't really get a chance to hang out with them away from the club because I'm not a regular there like I am with Plastic and like I am with my more immediate circle. But it's just beautiful how much love and acceptance that there is. You mentioned a drag brunch of different people who came. I noticed that in San Antonio, we're trying to branch out from just the Strip at North Main Street, and we're branching out to St. Mary's as well. And it's amazing how accepting it is, but how there's still things that need to improve. Like recently, I believe this was like a day or two ago, I was at this place called Limelight for a fundraiser for a friend, this individual named Wayne Holtz, who's moving to LA to be a full-time entertainer. It was a pretty fun night, but there were little things that showed we have so far to go. There was this raffle ticket lady who was not really that friendly. I'm not sure if she had clocked me or anything like that, but I was getting out my money to go ahead and get some tickets, and then she completely ignored me and went ahead and accepted the money from some other person next to me, which is her right. She has a job. But then that individual, he apologized to me, and I didn't know what to say. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you were in line first." And then she went ahead and didn't give me one ticket. She took my money and actually tried to give me 2 tickets. So I said, "Oh, I just wanted 1 ticket." And I don't know if she was upset that I didn't want to give as much money, but I knew what I was able to do and what I could contribute. So I had to speak up. And then when my friends showed up, we went to the bar, and even the bartender was being a little shady too. And this was at one of the straight establishments. And I couldn't figure out if it was because it was just misunderstanding, or if we had been clocked, or if it was because we were both Black trans women there. But he got to us, got our drinks. We tipped him. Even though he was acting kind of shady, we did make sure to show appreciation. So there's little things like that as we branch out from just North Main Street to St. Mary's and beyond that still could be work. And it may seem like a little thing, and maybe it was, but when I'm at the gay clubs, I don't go through stuff like that. If anything, I feel treated like a queen. I feel treated nicely, tenderly. And I don't even consistency that Katana has with her performances in Corpus Christi and other places she may go to. But it's definitely always a wake-up call going to other scenes and seeing how they react. They probably don't even know who we are. They probably don't even know we're entertainers either. Who knows what they know?
That's true.
Like this episode? Tell someone about it. Resources referenced in this episode can be found in the show notes at transfieldguide.com. Stay safe, and remember that I'm proud of you.